Hello everybody. So today I'm going to talk about something people ask me ever so often. What should I buy? Or I have this, and should I look at getting this? Now this happens all the time between the DP24 or 32 and the Model 24. Now I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a comparison of both, because neither answer to me is correct. Well, is not incorrect. Let's say it. So it comes down to, what do you need? Now, as I've stated, they are not the same thing. They are two entirely different beasts. The Model 24 is designed more as a DAW audio interface that you would hook up, and hopefully at some point, now they just added the new what is that, the meter app, so that you can actually see on a bigger screen what's going on, which is great. They should have that should have come out when they brought the Model 24. They should have said, and if you have this, then you can also have this. But yeah, you know how marketing goes. It's like, no, don't bring it out, because I don't want people to think that they can do it. The other thing they need to do, and I know they can do it, and I know they can do this because they brought up the metering app, so they can't say they can't. And also, everything I'm talking about here is digital. They could make the transport controllers on the Model 16 and Model 24 work like they do on the Model 2400, where you can set it to a specific DAW and it will work as the controllers for the DAW. They can do that. Now, will they do it? Another story. Probably not, because that would involve development, and I don't think it would be that hard, because they already have most of the code there for the 12 and the 2400. It should be possible. It should not be a big deal. And you can't tell me you can't do it because it's wired differently, because it's not. It's digital. That section of the board is digital. I'm not talking about the mixer part, which is analog. I'm talking about that part, which I know is digital, and you can easily latch in and click on a button and send a signal through the USB saying, we just clicked this button. So you can't tell me you can't do it. So that's me ranting for a second here. Sorry about that. So let's discuss the differences. Now, I didn't include the 12 or the 16 in this list, and the reason I didn't is because if you're looking at a DP24 or a DP32, you're looking more because you want 24 inputs. You want 24 tracks. Well, whatever you want to call it. 24 channels. Well, not even 24 channels. You're looking at getting as many recordable tracks that you can as possible. So I made this on Excel, because Excel is my favorite thing to work with. So let's talk about this. So as I've said, it's a personal choice what you want to use. It depends on you. Now remember, I'm not a DAW person. I would rather just work on everything on the machine instead of putting in a DAW to do the final touches. Now that's, if I'm making a CD, I have to run it through a computer, no big deal. But other stuff than that, I won't do on. I would rather do on the console as opposed to on the DAW. That's why I love the DP32 so much, because it's an all-in-one right up until I do the final cut of the song. So let's talk. First off, so you have on the DP32, 2432, you have 8 inputs. They are 8 combo. That means you have the XLR and the TRS together. So if you have a 1/4-inch cable, just plug them in, and they can be balanced or unbalanced. It will work that out on its own. And they are assignable, meaning that you can assign them to different tracks. The Model 24 has 6. This was a little hard to. It's gonna be a little hard to explain. I'm going to explain it. So you have 16 XLRs cross. So 1 to 16. Well, not 1 to 16, but you 1 to whatever, because it goes to stereo after 12. Now the reason I put that is because that's what you have. So that's XLRs. You have 12 TRS mono. That's the first 12 are mono. You then have 4 TRSs, like two beside each other, which are stereo. Now you can run those in mono, and they are static. So that means that the track they are on, is the track that they record onto. Now, ease of use wise, this is great. If you need a lot of channels for what you're doing, like if you need more than 8 inputs, yeah, look at getting a Model 24, because yeah, it's for you, it's going to be better. Like when I record the band that I was part of, yeah, full thing was great because I could hook up everybody. That's very important. So now inserts on this is gonna, once again, it's gonna get a little gray. So the inserts, which on both systems work the same, they are record only. So the inserts on the Tascam, the DP32, they are internal, meaning that you can set them on the inputs, so you can turn them on all the channels at the same time, as long as you're not using. This is the caveat. As long as you're not using the insert effects on any of the tracks, you can use all the inserts on the board. That's just the way it works. And they're known as dynamic ones. So you have your compressor, noise gate, de-esser, and I can't remember what the fourth one is. There are 4. So, but those are the 3 that I can think off the top of my head. Next, Exciter. I think it's Exciter. Yeah, de-esser and Exciter. So there's the 4 of them. On the Model 24, you have them on the first 2 channels. Now, I think on the 2400, if you're willing to spend that much money, they are on all channels that are mono. They don't, once you hit the stereo channels, and they're not there. That's another story. Yeah, and so the other thing is they're external. So that means that you have to have, if you're going to use them, you have to use an external compressor or whatever you want to run them. So it's external compressor or whatever you want to use, de-esser, whatever you want, then it has to be external. And it's on the first 2 channels. So that's there. Next is compression. On the 2432, it is internal. It's part of the 4 package thing. And once again, you can only use one at a time. We'll be discussing that later in other videos I make. On the board, it's on the first 12. Those are the mono channels. They have the compressor thing, and so it's the sets. It's then, and the compressor on that is already set. So you have a preset, and then you're just more or less setting the threshold. Would it be called? I think it would be called the threshold. And then that would be where you would set it to so that it would cut in once it hits that point. It will start going, and it has a little green light on it, so it'll light up, and the brighter it gets, the more compression it's doing. It works really well. I love it. It's honestly, it's a great. The settings are great. I've never complained about it. It works for vocals, drums, guitar, whatever I've used. I've never had any complaints about the compression on the Model 24. So the SD card, maximum size on the DP32 24 is 32 gigs. The max size on the Model 24, I'm not 100% sure. I know you can put 128 gigs in, possibly more, 256 more. I haven't really looked at it. I should, but I think it can take whatever is currently the largest you can do. It can probably take it. Don't quote me on that, but I do know that it can take it, and I have 128 gigs somewhere in this house, and I've used it on that. Do you need that much? It depends how much you're going to record. So if you're doing a large show, then yeah. So this is one that people seem to ask me about the most, is the Footswitch. So on the DP, it's configurable. It's a 3-button Footswitch. You can configure it. It does offer more settings than the Model 24 does, where the Model 24 is pretty much a play, record, stop, start kind of 1-button system. On the Model 24, you can set it up for play, record, and it will work with the punch in and punch out. I'd have to look again on it, but yeah, I don't think it's a play one on the Footswitch on the Model 24. I think it'll do a manual punch in, so you can hit play, and then when you want to start recording, you can hit it, and then it'll start recording and punch in for you. I don't know if it'll just automatically start playing, or if you can set it to just start recording. I think it has to be play or record. I'll have to look. I know it's limited to what it can do. It's not as fancy as the Footswitch on the DP series. So next, internal effects. The internal effects on the DP series are better. I'm just gonna throw that out there. If you're not somebody who has a lot of extra cash floating around and you don't want to buy a whole bunch of pedals or anything, or you don't want to buy a whole bunch of external effects, the internal effects on the DP series is good. Even the virtual guitar sounds decent. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it sounds decent. I've used it many times, and I guarantee you most people don't even notice. So there might be a few people who go, "Oh, I knew that was a virtual amp," but either way, yeah. So it is decent. Now, yeah, there are some caveats to that as well. You can only use it on one channel, so if you want to use it on multiple channels, you're gonna have to record what you wanted on that one, and so a lot of caveats with it. But yes, it does, and it has some really nice send effects. Now I'm gonna go and say, I wish that there were some of the effects that are on the 2488. I wish were on this as well, because they're just awesome. They're not, but that's another story. That's just me ranting. So the 2488 actually I feel has better send effects than this, and it has a better effect send layout in comparison to the DP series. They could have left certain things, but they didn't, which is too bad, because it does limit what you can do. But either way, that's just me ranting. And yeah, so then the Model 24 does offer effects, just send effects though. So you have your chorus. I'm not sure if that's phaser, but it has chorus, reverb, your echo, your different settings for that. And they aren't as fancy as they are on the DP series, but they are there. So if you're heavy into internal effects, yeah, I would say stick with the DP series. External effects, you have 2 send channels. Now, the problem, this is where the 2488 comes in better, is that it had 2 send channels, external sends, plus it had the internal loop, which was the internal effects that you could use. The external effects, the send channels on the DP32, the send one will actually loop the internal effects if they're on. So you have to remember that, but that's another story. But yes, you do have 2 external send effects. And the other nice thing about the DP32 is that if you use them during mixdown, you can run them back into the board through the stereo bus, and then they will be added to the mixdown or to a bounce, as opposed to having to take up a track. Whereas if you use the external effects on the Model 24, you have to bring them into a channel, which more or less takes up a track. So you lose you lose tracks to do this. And so yeah, but the nice thing is that the Model 24 it has your effects send channel. So you have your external 1/4 inch effects send, but then you have 2 other auxiliary ones that are technically monitors, because the Model 24 is built more as a live system. And so you can coerce them to be external effects if you want. That's another story. I've done it before. I've shown how to do that. Mixdown mastering. Yeah, the DP32 has all that internal, so you can just use what's there and do all that work. not offered on the Model 24. Their idea is once you've recorded, you just export, you copy the files onto your DAW. You can use your Model 24 as your your faders and stuff and play with it. But all in all, yeah, you're going to do the rest of the work on the DAW if you want to. You can do a final mastering on the Model 24, and it does work well. But you don't have the extras such as the extra compression settings and all this other stuff which you do on the DP32 and that. Audio interface. Now the reason why I put audio interface and not DAW controller is because at this moment the Model 24 cannot be a DAW controller. It can be an audio interface. You have your full track mixer audio interface. You have that all available to you if you put it into a DAW. You can also use it the way that I use my little art USB 4 over there in the corner, which is I can use it. I could use it if I want to do what I'm doing right now. I could just have it run into the system, run into the audio, run into the USB, and use it as that. I have done that. That's how it's hooked up to my OBS. Is that it comes in as a stereo track, so that you guys can hear what I'm working on if I'm working on the Model 24. I have it coming in as a stereo track. So yes, like that is one of the nice things about it is that it is fully compatible with a DAW as an audio interface, and it works very well as an audio interface. So now the rest of this I had to put it as other items because it's hard to compare them because they're not in both. So metronome. Let's just go through the DP32 ones. You have a metronome. I think the Model 12 has a metronome. I'm not sure if the 2400 has a metronome, but I do know the Model 12 has a metronome, which is nice because it's useful. I don't know why they didn't just put it on all of them, but that's another story. Track edit you can do on the Tascam DP32. It's good. I've used it many times. It works very well. You have undo, redo, which is very important, especially if you screw up and you're recording on the wrong track and you go, oh, shoot, I want to undo that. And you have a tuner. I'm trying not to say, well, it also has this and it also has this, because both of them have these things. So I didn't want to add anything else. So your Model 24, you have your XLR main outputs, which is nice. So you actually have two separate systems there. You have a main output, which would be if you were using it as a front of house or in front of house in a stage setting. You have your main outputs. You have the ability to throw your monitor. You have the ability to send to just specific monitors on it for on the stage for the people playing. And then you have the ability to record all that stuff that you're doing. And you also have a sub channel. So if you want to send certain things into a sub channel, and like let's say you have all your drums set to the sub channel, and then you can play with that. You can set it to the main, or you can have it go somewhere else completely. Once again, it's beautiful for that. So you have a lot of stuff on the Model 24 designed for a live setting, whereas the DP32 is designed for somebody who, like me, who just records himself and possibly some friends and just wants to take it to the next level. And I'm not saying you can't take the Model 24 stuff to the next level. I've recorded stuff on 4-track, 24, whatever. I've recorded on analog, digital, doesn't matter. And you can release it, and people don't know the difference. That's the nice thing about recording. Unless they actually physically, they see what you've done, they don't know, and they don't care. But that's another story. So yeah, so you also have a graphic EQ for the mains. You can switch it to monitors, whole bunch of stuff. And then you have, and I'm not going to call it this, but you have the one channel on the Model 24. That is your RCA 1/8 inch stereo, and then Bluetooth input channel. And then one last thing, which I think a lot of people forget, is that on the Model 24 you actually lose a track. So it is 22. I'm going to call it 22, even though it is 12 mono, 4 or 5 stereo. And then the final track, the 2324, is technically the main fader. It is not a recordable track, but it is kind of a final recordable track. It's not like the rest. So the rest you have all separate. The main is kind of like, it's kind of like you're doing a final mix down at all times, because that's how it works, really. It's whatever you're recording at the time, that's what's getting put on the main. That's how that works. So yeah, so you lose that. So on the DP24, you actually have your full, 1 to 12, and then your rest are all your stereo tracks, 224. So 2324 is on there, and then that to me is, so you lose a track. But either way, that's what I know. So that's my video today. I hope this helps you out. I don't know. It was a lot of work to put together. So I hope this helps you out if you are looking at moving on to its Model 24. So that's my answer to that. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.